You guys hear my audio? You guys hear my audio? Yeah, good. I gotta figure out how to do this again. I think I had a little echo going the last time. I still haven't got all this stuff sorted out. But anyway, glad you guys could join. Oh, I know. I bet I need to mute my stream. That would probably fix it. Okie dokie. Well, in case you're wondering what the hell is going on, yeah, we've been having issues with the torsion wire, with the, well, various issues. The first wire I had in there had a lot of bias in it. I wanted to change that out, so I tried heat treating a piece of 0.008 inch guitar string, and that thing just acted really crazy. It was very unstable, and I never could get it to settle down. So my good friend Lefty, Two Thumbs Left, the guy that the genius that made the adjuster device, made some 0.007 inch steel wire, that nichrome wire that he heat treated, and he sent me that stuff last week, and I put a piece of it in Thursday afternoon, and unfortunately it never would settle down either. So after watching it just move around at random for 4 days, I got impatient and decided to try something different. I've got some stainless steel wire that I had ordered, 316 stainless steel, and I had some 32 gauge, which is a little under 0.008 inch diameter. So I put a piece of that in there, and that's what we're watching right now. It's just now, I've just now got everything back together, and I'm trying to let it settle down and see where it's zeroed in the experiment inside the enclosure. And we need to document the period of oscillation. That's very important, and it's critical that we get an accurate. Sorry about that. Critical we get an accurate measurement of the oscillation period, because that number, along with the deflection of the beam, the torsion balance, those are the two primary variables that we're measuring, and both of them have obviously a huge effect then on the calculated value of the gravitational constant. So we want to be sure we get that right. So right now the deflection has been pretty extreme. I'm not sure what it's doing at the moment. I haven't been watching that closely, but just to give you a little bit of info on what you're looking at, down in the lower right hand corner, you're actually looking inside the window on the east end of the enclosure. At the end of the torsion balance, which has a vernier scale attached to it, and that's the thing you see moving, the top part. And it's wobbling back and forth right now because it's still banging into the walls of the enclosure from time to time as it settles down. But that's what that thing is. The bottom divisions are in 20ths of an inch, 0.05 inch divisions. And the vernier allows us to make the measurement to within 0.005 inches. So that's about the same accuracy that Cavendish was able to achieve. And you can see it was easy enough for him to do that. It just took a lot of perseverance. Poor guy was sitting outside looking through a telescope. I'm glad we've got better ways of doing it. And the better way of doing it is to put a laser in the system and reflect it off a mirror, which is situated at the center of the balance beam. And that's what you see up at the top. Of course, right now you don't see the red dot because it's gone all the way off scale. But that's way more than the amount of deflection that we're actually going to get when we start running the test. And Colon says, did I change the wire again? Yes, sir. Certainly did. This is a piece of stainless steel wire that's in here. Let me stick the Discord link back in the chat. There you go. And you guys feel free to jump on Discord and join the conversation if you want to. John Bunker, yeah, thanks, man. Get some rest. Any cake? I don't have any cake, Scott. Bring some. Need some cake. Boy, isn't this thrilling. Can you imagine what Cavendish went through having to be outside in the wintertime in England, hunkered down looking through a telescope at roughly what you see there on the bottom right for hours on top of hours on top of hours. That was one determined fellow. I see the red dot has managed to come back. I don't know why I don't have a super chat. C4? I do not know. I need to figure that out, don't I? I got a little thing down there. Let's see. On my screen, anyway. You don't see one? Yeah, in fact, Cavendish said that he used what he called a silvered copper wire, and he even gave a weight of it in grains per linear foot, and it's roughly it's a little bit larger diameter than what I'm using, but I'm using steel and not copper. So steel's got a modulus of rigidity about double that of copper. So it sort of makes sense. Peter says I have super chats. Haha. Don't know, C4. I don't know what's up, Jimmy. Okay, real signals. Let's see. Let me see if I can explain it again. The laser's pretty straightforward. There's a mirror that is attached to the balance beam, the torsion balance. It's sitting right at the center of the torsion balance, so the laser simply reflects off of it and projects itself across the room about 10 feet to a screen that's got that silver ruler attached to it. And it is slightly, the ratio is slightly more than 5 distance-wise. If we take, say, the distance from one of the small balls inside the enclosure to the center of the beam is 2 feet exactly, 24 inches. The distance, though, from the center of the beam over to that screen is 123 inches. So we're multiplying the amount of movement that we see by the ratio of 123 divided by 24. So that's like 5.125. But it's bouncing off a mirror, so that doubles the deflection itself. And that's why I say up there in the little caption, the laser view, the actual beam deflection is that laser dot deflection times 10.25. Okay. So it's important that we know exactly how far this thing moves. Now, what you're seeing down at the bottom, that is the end of the beam you're looking at. The little top scale that's moving, that's actually a scale that's screwed onto the end of the beam. So that's essentially exactly what Cavendish was looking at. And by looking at it with respect to the fixed scale there at the bottom, which is graduated in 20ths of an inch, we can measure directly how far that beam moves, how far it rotates. So it went 7.5 to the right, Colin. It's both rotating and swinging. That's why you see the back and forth movement within a longer period, much longer period oscillation. This is what happens when you disturb it. over a period of an hour or two, that will settle down and stop doing that. I've also got a time lapse going on. I've got the DSLR set up, so I'm shooting a frame of the laser over there every 20 seconds. And once that is all put together in a time lapse, then I can figure out exactly within a few seconds what the oscillation period is. It's best to let it go through 4 or 5 oscillations. Hello, GPS. How many hours did it take to build? I have no idea. Quite a few hundred, I would think. So let's see, we're at 7 left right now. Haven't tried to center it yet either. All I did, I've just gotten it somewhere close. Uh-oh, Facty. What have I done to you? Facty, you are now a moderator. Said, add a couple more in here too. There you go, Howard. Hurl Ties, you're a moderator too. Everybody gets to be a moderator. How many pages of notes and calculations you got, Howard? I've got a couple of steno books full, I think. I don't remember if this is number 2 or number 3. This is number 3. On number 3. I've worn out quite a few pencils, I know that. Absolutely. Absolutely, C4. Everybody's a mod except Gary. Everybody gets to be a mod till you make me mad. So don't make me mad. Whoops, forgot to look. How far to go to the left? One of you observant types. I'll be right back. So 14 and a half to the left and 7 or so to the right. That's not too far off. I'm not going to change anything right now though, since I've got that time lapse going, and what this is really good for at the moment is figuring out what the oscillation period is. So if I go changing anything about the adjuster, the position of the wire, I can actually affect that oscillation period, and I don't want to do that. So after I get, after this time lapse runs down, let's see. Let me go check and see where that thing is. Oh, got a long way to go. 487. 87 shots. That's 3. Yeah, that'll run for almost 3 more hours. So I may not let it go. I need to get about, 8 or 10 oscillation periods would be good. And I think this period is around 15 minutes thereabouts. Hey, Charlie. Hello, Clive. How are you tonight? Real Cygnus in the chat. Now, that's the beautiful thing about a pendulum. As long as you don't get too crazy with it, the period doesn't change. The amplitude can change over quite a range, but the period will always be the same. So some of you guys jump on the Discord. We'll talk about anything. Oh, where's GPS? Well, GPS is green for me, so I can't tell. C4, I can't really tell. But he should be fixed now. Thank you, Charlie. And there should be a link to the Discord. Anybody wants to join. 14-minute full oscillation time. Good. That would be good because that's almost exactly what Cavendish had when he installed uh, his second wire. He went through a bit of this. He didn't. Well, his first one was too small, so he realized that he was going to actually attract the small masses to the point that they would go all the way over and collide with the inside of the enclosure. So we ran a few tests that way, being very careful not to let the overshoot get out of control. But then, after 3 or 4 tests, Cavendish went back and changed the torsion wire out to a larger one. He never really said what he changed it out to, though. Although we can calculate pretty much what it had to be. Let's see, I'm going to make a few notes. Yeah, Charlie, it is. You're right. It's a simple harmonic oscillator. Uh, what I've got going on over in the corner that you can't see right now is I've got a time lapse going with my DSLR, and I've got a program uh, called Tracker, and I can feed that time lapse video into Tracker, and it makes a beautiful plot of the decay. So I'll undoubtedly do that sometime later tonight. I doubt I can show it. I don't have Tracker on this computer out here in the shop, but it's a really cool program. And taking a screenshot or taking a still shot every 20 seconds like I'm doing. And if you do that over a period of, say, 10 oscillations, you get a very, very accurate reading of the measurement of the oscillation period. And it's kind of important that you do this while the large masses are in a neutral position. Because once you move them around into one of their resting positions close to the small masses, they have an effect on the oscillation period. Yeah, Charlie, it's called Tracker. And if you can't Google the thing, I'll find a link to it. It's a really neat little program. No, Charlie, it actually changes the period a little bit. You've essentially added another spring in the system. It's not a big change, but it does affect it a little bit. It actually slows down the period slightly. Oh, good. Got a thumbs down. Somebody doesn't like us. Or thank you, Gary. Those negative interactions count too. Zero offset is important. Yeah, Charlie, absolutely. Well, the two measurements that go into the calculation of G, the two measurements that we're making that go into that calculation are, number one, the offset, the displacement, and number two, the period of oscillation. Everything else is known or fixed. We know the mass of the large weights, the mass of the little weights don't really matter. That actually cancels. We know the distances, all of that stuff. So once you boil it all down, really all you're left with is the period of oscillation and the amount of deflection. All right, 37 watts. Boy, you guys really are bored tonight, aren't you? All right, I'm going to pay attention this time. We're up to 13 to the left. Watch this thing. The way it's moving, I think it's going to hit that wall. Keep an eye on it. There we are. Almost 15. It just did hit it. Yep. So that was at 1841 local. When did Cavendish do his experiment? C4 is asking. 1798. Hello, Rumpus.
It's me.
Oh, John. Hello, John.
You hear me all right?
Yeah, I do.
I just thought I'd drop in so you didn't feel too lonely.
Good.
And just for future reference, don't call me Rumpus.
Oh, I was looking at Rumpus in the chat and speaking to him. He just popped up. I didn't see you come on the screen.
Yeah.
I've got that thing so small I can't really see it.
So I saw you going live. Like, how's it going generally with the new wire?
The one that I got from Lefty last week, that point 007 that I put in last Thursday, never would settle down. That thing would just constantly be swinging 10 millimeters, and then the center point would move 10 millimeters, and
Hmm.
that's so much variance. I didn't feel like I would ever be able to get any kind of accurate data from it. So after 4 days of watching it misbehave, I decided to hell with it and took it out. And I put a piece of 3/16 stainless steel wire in there. I want to see how that behaves. See what that does.
So it's still settling down.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got this thing operating again about oh, 2 hours ago. So this is very, very early in the calibration process, if you want to call it that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's lucky you're a patient man.
Well, if you're not, this is not the thing to be doing. Nothing fast
Yeah.
happens. But I think, isn't astronomy a bit that same way, John?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's just a lot of tedious stuff.
Yeah, I yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I spent a good couple of hours making sure that my 10-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope was working fine. To catch the maximum of the the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, and even done test runs in the cameras, and and then the clouds came in.
Yeah,
Fucked
yeah,
it. There's always tomorrow.
yeah. Charlie in the chat wanted to know if I tried calculating the expected torsional stiffness of the wire. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Before I ever did anything, Charlie, in terms of constructing this thing, I ran through that analysis to see what size wire I thought I would need, and to see if the deflections that I calculated seemed to make any sense. And all of it actually did if I used that .008 inch wire. Actually, my first choice was a 007, but .007, .008, somewhere in that range for a steel wire seemed to be a good number, and it seemed to be about right for as far as oscillation period and all of that. And when we checked it out, we came pretty close. I'll say within kappa was somewhere, the torsional constant was around 95% or so of the calculated number. So yeah, I mean it worked out quite well. Uh, Entertain the crowd there, John. I'll be back in a second. Got to get something to drink.
Holy shit, the pressure's on. I'd like to commentate like we're watching racehorses, but that wouldn't be appropriate, would it?
Check, check. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
What's going on, John? How was talking to Jeremy on Gems?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a real piece of work, that one, huh?
Yeah, I think as as was said in the movie Cool Hand Luke, some men you just can't reach.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was Kosho brought up a good point where, he's not really in it for the truth. He's just trying to win individual argument, you know? He brags about
Yeah.
like destroying Globers all the time, he brags about always winning an argument, but that doesn't change anything.
Well, I mean, that's that's the extension of his delusion. If he thinks he's won an argument, I
Right.
very much doubt, very much doubt that he ever has.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
I
I
mean,
don't think he has too, yeah.
but yeah, when I said to him, ask Santa Claus for a telescope with an equatorial mount for Christmas, and learn to use it, and a lot of your beliefs will be dissolved. And I think that's true if you put his mind to it.
Yeah, no, I heard you say that, and yeah, I think that's true too. I mean, for him to hold on to his flat fantasy, he'll just deny whatever he's seeing or make up some bullshit to, for it to make sense to himself. But
Yeah,
a lot of these flat earthers aren't. I mean, I don't think that they're really looking, for any type of truth. A lot of them aren't even flat earthers. They just like to argue. It just sucks
yeah,
for the ones. It sucks for the ones that are, that might be confused about, how we know the Earth is flat, or might be paranoid that the governments are lying to them, and they kind of want to know the truth, and then they hear people like Jeremy and all the other ones that throw them deep down the rabbit hole.
yeah. I think that's totally true. Um, I think there are maybe few people who really believe that the Earth is flat, and there are some who just keep it going for money, and just for the sort of notoriety. But because we're here right now, one of the good things that comes out of it is that it causes people to kind of revisit what they learn about science, and for people to demonstrate science, just to sort of, I mean, this whole thing, the sort of reenactment of the Cavendish experiment is just great. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, and I've heard that, the last almost 4 years now. I've heard that a lot where people, like how they're getting back into the science because of this subject. They're learning a lot, and some people are just here to listen to, there's people in the background just listening and learning. I think that's pretty fascinating too.
Yeah. No, is it? But I've been into this for like a couple of years, I suppose. Um, and Blue Marble, he's always been one of these like concrete. Hope he's not listening. I don't want to give him a big head.
I am.
But
I'm listening. Go ahead.
all right.
Keep going.
What he's always been one of these like solid concrete voices of reason. Very, very deliberate about what he says. If he's going to say something, he says it right. And I can only assume that if he's going to recreate a Cavendish experiment, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it right. And I've got every faith in him.
Oh yeah, just look at the amount of work that went into it. That thing's a thing of beauty, you know. It's amazing.
And Blue, that's all the sucking up I'm going to do. Okay, so just
You're allowed. Suck up all you wish.
yeah, that's
He's gonna be able to fit through his head through that door.
Yeah,
I only stopped in to say. Sorry, John. I just want to say I only stopped in to say hi, guys. I'll try to come back a little later, Blue, if you're still on.
Hey, glad you dropped in, Jimmy.
All right, Blue. All right, John. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks, buddy.
But yeah, it is one of the positives about this whole flat Earth nonsense is, you know, when someone says something to you that's quite extraordinary and, you know, at odds with the scientific consensus, it causes you to think, oh, right, okay, you know, how do I know such and such is true, and it serves to strengthen your knowledge about you know, whatever scientific discipline it is, and it causes people like you, Blue, to you know, to do what you're doing. So, you know, as much as irritating as the flat Earth is, it does produce some plus side.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. I was sitting here reading the chat.
I was just kind of talking to myself.
Oh, that's good. Back to something Charlie was talking about. Yeah, this point 008 wire has I calculate an oscillation period of 1,122 seconds, which is 18.7 minutes. Now, Colon's measuring numbers that are a little less than that, but I think that's probably because it's still banging into the side of the enclosure, and that throws everything off. So we'll just have to be patient for a while and see what happens. I hope I didn't start the time lapse too soon, because I think all the data I've taken so far is useless. But that's okay. I got lots of useless data.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, even useless data is usable for something.
Hey, if Charlie's here, just to say, I think I said it at the time, it was great when you were in Jose's recently. Loved that.
Absolutely. That was highly informative.
Yeah.
I was waiting on one of them to say, "You're lying, you haven't been there." But they didn't.
Yeah. It was one of those times, I was waiting for that as well. And, I suppose they're just some truths that maybe they knew that it would just be preposterous. I don't know. Or maybe they were actually as fascinated as we were. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Maybe. Never know. Me too, Stone Monkey. I do want to see what technological advancements come out of flat Earth.
What might that be? The flat Earth, kind of wants to put us back into the Dark Ages. Um, Denial of science, denial of any kind of legitimate endeavor to find out what the truth is about reality. Uh, so yeah, invention's not very high on the list.
I had an interesting discussion with Brandon Toy over on Jose's show yesterday. Actually, quite civil.
Hmm. I had quite a civil discussion with Brandon Toy on gems, actually. But he is now expecting me to take to take multiple exposures of the sun through a telescope to prove to him and to the flat Earth that limb darkening doesn't change the angular diameter of the sun.
Yeah, you're talking about solar filters.
Yeah, well, his argument was that you might have a solar filter so dense that because you know that when a spherical object, you have the limb is the edge is slightly darker than the center. And his argument was that maybe that's what's causing the difference in angular size, which is just silly, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I've got a full I've got a full aperture solar filter for the 10-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, and so if I've got time, if it's clear, maybe I'll do that and send it to him. But that would be jumping through hoops, you know, and it's just a stupid exercise in anyway. But yeah, I mean the conversation I had with him was I just asked him, you know, if you think that the you know, if you follow the flat Earth model, and you're saying that in northern hemisphere winter, the reason why it's colder is because the sun retreats down to the Tropic of Capricorn, when in actual fact, in the first week in January, that is when the sun is at its maximum angular diameter, and we can easily measure this. And correspondingly, in the first week in July, the sun is at its smallest. And you know, how does that equate to your flat Earth model? And that really stumped him. But then he said, "Oh, you can't take accurate photographs to determine the angular size of the sun because your filters might be, you know, occluding the actual size because of blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said to him at the time, it's photography. You know, first things first, you make sure you're in focus, right? And you choose an appropriate focal length, an appropriate shutter speed, and an appropriate ISO or gain, depending on what camera you're using, and you expose the picture properly. You know, um, if you don't do that, then you've taken a shite photograph. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. To Scott Bennett in the chat. Yeah, I could see Brendan declaring a victory after the discussion he and I had. For what reason I would not really be able to understand it, because I didn't say anything differently than I've ever said. Uh, Quite simply, he was talking about airplanes and the way airplanes behave, uh, and from day one all the way to eternity. I'll be the first one to tell you that simply through the mechanics of flying an airplane, you have no idea whether you're flying over a flat surface, a curved surface. It doesn't matter. There's nothing in the plane that tells you that the thing below you is curved or flat or uphill or downhill. Nothing that I have tells me any of that. So, that's one point. What the point I wanted to get him to understand is that the atmosphere is in fact attached to the Earth. The atmosphere does in fact rotate with the Earth. And the airplane only knows that it is flying inside that rotating atmosphere. So whatever the atmosphere does is what the airplane does. And that was the point I wanted to get across to him. And I think maybe he's finally about to catch on to that. He talked about different things like, does the speed change when you turn? Well, no, your airspeed doesn't. Well, if you do a real steep turn, you'll get a change in airspeed. But a gradual normal turn that you make in an airplane, your airspeed doesn't change, but your ground speed might change a lot. Depends on what the wind is doing. So those were just some of the things we talked about. If Brandon thinks he won, good for him. I even thought about doing a video to expand on all of that a little bit, but I've done a bunch of videos on this topic already, so not too sure that another one is going to help anything. And no, Citizen 9, I do not nose the plane down. No, I do not. Only if I want the plane to lose altitude.
Blue, you can be my wingman anytime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to Top Gun 2, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I've got Citizen 9.
These guys.
Citizen 9 over on the west coast of Scotland.
Huh?
Citizen 9, he's over on the western coast of Scotland. He's a good lad.
Yeah, I talk to him in the chats all the time.
Don't tell him I said that. You know.
Might have heard you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happens when you point the nose down. You go a lot faster. And that happens immediately. So the best way I know of to gain some airspeed is point the nose down. And the best way to lose some airspeed is to pull the nose up.
So where's Stone Monkey from then? I've got a Scottish contingent here.
Stone Monkey says east side of Scotland.
Jesus Christ, there. you're, you're being bombarded by the Picts. Dave N.
Has this silly thing ever stopped bouncing off the left wall yet? Somebody tell me. I'm watching the chat and not paying much attention to the experiment. Well, Judy, outside loops are an experience if you've done one. That's G's in the wrong direction.
I've experienced that. It's not pleasant.
No, it's not. I don't like positive G's, negative G's. Do not care for them at all.
I went for one of my friends has got a private pilot's license, and we flew from like the Dundee, which is sort of like the east of Scotland, over to Ben Nevis, which is the west of Scotland, and it was like Piper Tomahawk, or I think,
Yeah.
and yeah, halfway there, he decided to like just do some stuff. Yeah, I wasn't sick. In mind, I just want to say I didn't actually vomit, but it was pretty close.
Well, most general aviation aircraft aren't stressed to handle very many negative G's.
That was my that was a real worry of mine. I was thinking this airplane surely can't actually handle what's happening to it. Just the amount of G-force was. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if the wings ripped off. I mean, that's what I was expecting to happen. It's like, fuck me. this is more than like overstressing the airframe. This is I was shitting myself.
Judy Bassett in the chat, yes, they pit special. Most definitely will do an outside loop.
Pit special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful little biplane.
Yeah, I saw the pit special at the Farnborough Air Show in the south of England quite a few times. Extraordinary. You throw that thing around. Yeah.
And again, there's the Discord link. Hopefully it's the right one. So I think it is. Anybody that wants to join, feel free. We're having a great time.
Mr. Sensible here.
Yeah, hop in here, Mr. Sensible.
Yeah, he served his revenge nice and cold on Nathan Oakley just recently. That was quite nice. Oh, it couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke.
Well, somebody told me, I read something in one of the chats today, I think, that Oakley gave Whitsitt a bit of a tongue lashing yesterday or something.
Really?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, but I haven't been able to find it. Be back in a sec.
Well, if they deserve each other. They're a couple of decades. But yeah, yeah. I think Mr. Sensible had a stream. I think with MC Tune. I call him Mick Tune.
Mick Tune.
Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Sensible. Mage was great, wasn't it? High altitude balloon stuff, brilliant.
Yeah, so Barry, I'll have to go look. I'll have to go look for that. It's so much fun when Nathan snaps. Yeah, Barry, that's all people. The only reason people go to Oakley's channel is they're there just simply to hear Nathan pitch a fit, act like a child, talk about other men's genitalia or whatever it is that he's on about that day.
Or to get abused.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Gem's server is pretty rough actually.
It has been.
Hmm. Apparently, I'm classed as a globe liability by some of the mods.
Globe liability.
Yeah. And I wear that like a badge of honor, obviously.
I didn't know the globe had liabilities.
Well, yeah, I'm living proof, man.
Well, welcome everybody, all 45 of you guys that are bored to tears at the moment. Thanks for showing up tonight. This is Blue Marble's actual, third live stream, I guess. So I'm still trying to figure stuff out. Excuse me if it doesn't go perfectly. And we'll try to make it better as time goes on. So here's an important question. Who wants to be the very first brave soul to give old Blue here a super chat? I'll leave you to ponder that.
I don't see the super chat option, Blue.
Some say they do, some say they don't. I see it on my screen. I didn't know that, I don't know if there's something I haven't enabled or what. But if you see it, give it a try. Let me click it and see if it'll let me do something. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, never mind. That's not working right. Yeah, I got to figure out what I got wrong. No big deal. Yeah, there's some box I haven't ticked off apparently. I have to go wade through YouTube and see what I've done, what I haven't done yet. Yeah, Dave in. Exactly. It's got the join option, but it doesn't have the super chat option in it. I don't know. I'll work it out. Not important. Gary Wybanger's mom. Yeah, Gary was here a little while ago. I don't know where he went.
That was excruciating. That chat, if you can call it that we had with him. You made a video about some of it. Oh.
Did he?
It was about the 0G vomit comet light density tower, blah blah blah. Yeah. Oh.
He goes out of his way to get things wrong.
Well, the crazy thing about Gary, and it's not uncommon, is that he's so sure about what he's saying, and it's stuff that he's just dreamed up on his own. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, you've got an aircraft that's flying a parabolic profile, which results in 0G or microgravity at the top of that. But now somehow or the other, Gary's got it in his head that that's centrifugal force. Huh? No.
But it's so what he's proposing is so fucked up. Pardon my French. That I struggle to actually follow what he's talking about. It's so like ill thought through and just silly. I'm kind of like, what are you?
You look at you look at the video of the 0G maneuver in the airplane, and you notice that the people are floating inside the airplane. They're not bouncing off the floor. They're not bouncing off the ceiling or the roof of it. They're just floating. Now, what does that tell you? Obviously, the people, all the stuff in the plane, and the plane are all accelerating toward the ground at the same rate.
Yep.
everything. And so he's been
It's
trying to
like I
maintain.
said to you in
He's been trying.
I sent you an email about it. It'd be interesting to see, the readout of an accelerometer. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be that interesting because in all axes, the accelerometer would read zero. But just as some kind of evidence, definitive evidence that there isn't actually any force there.
Well, Gary's been trying to maintain that because the guy is holding the density column, and the guy is sitting on the floor or touching the side of the airplane just to steady himself for the camera shot, that somehow or the other that negates zero gravity, microgravity. And I have,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to have him come to the understanding that when everything is accelerating at the same rate with respect to each other, those things are not accelerating.
Yeah, like I already said, from the movie Cool Hand Luke, some men you just can't reach. Some people are unteachable. They don't know, don't want to know. And what do you do with that? Can't do anything.
I have no idea. You've got people like QE, as Gary Lowe in the chat is pointing out. QE still prattles on and on and on about the black swan, which was never a black swan to begin with. It's a totally flawed logic to start with. His modus tollens, he confuses the apparent horizon and the geometric horizon.
Well, the funny thing about it is, I think it was actually the Rumpus that called it a black swan because it's a one-off. It's all swans are white. I mean, what's really odd or strange is that occasionally you might get a black swan, and that's the same with that picture, that photograph. That any other day of the year, you take that picture, like you expose this yourself, you don't get these really weird refractive effects. So it's really funny that it actually ended up being called the black swan.
Well, it turns
because
out
it's an oddity.
It turns out when you look into it, though, John, that at that particular place on the West Coast, that happens to be in an area where from time to time, and it's not all that infrequent. You have a situation with calm winds and the sea temperature is exactly right, and you get that effect. But it's not all the time. It's once in a while you see that. It's not like they've never seen it before or will never see it again. That's not a one of a kind, never to be observed in the future type of observation. It does happen once in a while, and it becomes, it's more prevalent in some places than others. But yeah, stream's buffering out. Let me see if I can figure out how to make that not happen. Let's see. I could do to it. Working on it, guys. Yeah, this thing's not letting me. Oh well. I don't know what to do about the buffering, folks. My apologies.
Just gotta say, I mean, I really don't want to hear any shit talking about GPS. The guy who's no, it was GPS. Okay.
Well, if one of you YouTube geniuses knows what I need to do to fix this buffering problem, type something in the chat. But as I've said, this is my third live stream, and I'm new at this, so I'm still trying to figure some of these things out. Actually, I'm still trying to figure the entire thing out. That would be a more honest statement I could make.
It's probably GPS's fault. Because I don't have any buffering because I'm just talking to you on the Discord. So
Yeah, right. Says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. That's the error message. What do you mean you're not receiving enough video? Idiot thing. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop worrying about it. I'll chat with some of these YouTube aficionados later, and I'm sure they can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Meanwhile, Cavendish is still swinging around, I see. I don't know if it's something over in OBS doing it or what.
hey, Blue, I saw you got that email I sent you with the picture when I was testing out the big telescope.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
That was a bit of a shock.
But, you know, really, you got to stop peeping in people's windows now, John. Come on.
I just, I just saw barely saw a light in the distance, and I thought, well, I'll focus on that, and I could maybe use it like a star to collimate the optics, and and I put it up to maximum magnification, and somebody's somebody's window completely filled the frame. Yeah, so no one was in them, but yeah, it's quite astonishing, the power of that telescope.
Yeah, Colin, I'm using OBS. Is it an OBS problem?
Anyway, Blue, I'm gonna slope off. Mrs. John is probably wondering where I am, as usual.
Yeah, got to climb down out of the tree now, do you?
Yeah.
Thinking it'd be pretty cold up in that tree tonight.
Shit. Yeah, tree climbing's. Well, now that my favourite tree is obviously lost all of its leaves, uh, you know, it just becomes quite obvious that there's just some weirdo sitting halfway up a tree, you know. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me. I just thought I'd drop in, say hello, talk some shit,
Yeah, thanks for being here, John.
and all the very, very best. Uh, as I'm sure everyone else would agree, you're doing a really great thing. It's fascinating to watch, and yeah, I'll catch you later, mate.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
All right.
Well, there's a link to the Discord. Anybody wants to join, please jump in. Yeah, colon could be an Ethernet or a Wi-Fi problem. Hadn't thought about that. And this is not a laptop. This is a desktop with some sort of graphics card, I think. It's an old junker is what it is. It's a remanufactured HP something or the other, i5. I got it specifically just for this. Just so we could, well, it makes it easy for me to video using webcams. Video all this stuff. Somebody join. Well, it doesn't act like it's buffering anymore, so let's see. Still says my stream status is poor. Let's see what we can do about these cameras. That stuff's all working. Yeah, I've heard that, Bjorn, that the mic, I know the mic's a little low. I've got it a little ways away from me.
Hey there, Blue. How you doing, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
Not a lot. A little problem here. I just thought I'd pop in and console you woes on the live streaming. It's always going to be a pain.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking on, you got that HP, you got the Packard machine you're talking about with the i5 processor. Yeah, that'd be good enough for streaming, but because you're actually running 3 monitors, and I've seen now you've got your your top one's back up and running. It is very slow on the uptake on your screens. And might just need you just refreshing those screens once in a while, that's all.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it needs.
Yep.
You're real distorted for me for some reason. I don't know what's up.
Oh, I'm always just I've got a bit of a head cold going on, but no temperature, no throat, no cough, just no, my nose is blocked. And I can still taste my potato chips, so I'm all right.
Part of this is these crappy speakers I've got. But same thing,
Hey, no worries.
Distortion. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I just thought I'd drop in and just check out the system and say, yeah, it's looking like you're starting to get your swing, compressing. It's not being as far right, but it's still about the same far left. It's kind of weird, that.
Yeah, I haven't made any attempt to center it yet. I was just trying to get it somewhere near the middle where it would stop banging into the walls of the enclosure, so that I can get a decent measurement of the oscillation period. And once I have that, then I'll worry about fine adjustments to get the thing centered. Not that it has to be perfectly centered either. I mean, it would be nice if it would just sit at rest, at 0. But if it's a division on one side or the other of 0, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take some of that sort of variable into account and let it do what it wants to do, or you'll make yourself crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dave, I'm probably chopping out because I don't speak too loudly at night. I've got a young baby and my granddaughter's still, she's up at the moment, having a ball. Whatever. The joy of having grandchildren around.
Well, I'm glad you joined, Colin. Thanks.
mate, no problem. Lou, I've been impressed with what you're getting on with this anyway. It's looking good.
It's been fun, and it just continues to be fun when it's not aggravating me like it has been for the last 4 or 5 days.
It's hours of entertainment. It settles in.
Yeah, when it doesn't want to, when it doesn't want to behave, you come you have these moments when you just want to grab something really heavy and hit the damn thing with it. But I've managed to control myself so far. No serious damage to anything.
Just grab another piece of wood and start whittling away.
There you go. I got plenty of that.
Yeah, I see Gary I.O. in the chat. He's just listened to 5 minutes. Nathan Oakley, losing his mind. He lost his. Yeah, not surprising.
That's what Nathan always does.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's not going to be very happy in the next couple of days when he gets a little knock on the door.
Yeah.
Thanks for actually put through the letter. It's going through, so good luck. See where that goes in the end.
How clever are these people? They put a nice little knob on my speakers that says tone, which does absolutely nothing.
Oh, cool. The tone of my voice is deep anyways, but it's not as melodic.
Nice job, fellas. I think these things, these are Logitechs. Hell, I paid $14 for them. I can't believe they're not excellent.
Well, they're never classified as the best speakers, but they make some good peripherals, but not brilliant ones.
Yeah. So I think we got up around 10 to the right that time.
Which marker are you actually going by?
Huh?
Because I didn't get it far. I know when you're saying going up to about 10 on the right, I'm going by your central point mark.
I'm looking at
But I only got to about 2.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that that scale on the bottom scale on the right. And when I say 10, I'm talking about the center of the vernier, where the screw is. That's the center line.
Yeah.
05 and a screw in the middle of it, and 05 on the other side. Well, that line in the center. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm just.
It's right now on 0, almost 0, right there. So there's
Wow.
about 0. And now the swing is to the left of 0. That's what, when I'm saying this stuff, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And now what it's been doing is going all the way over. If it gets over to 15, the ball,
Yeah.
the 2-inch ball inside that case is going to hit the side of the case. And then all bets are off, of course.
Okay. See, at the point I'm looking back now, about 4 minutes and 59 seconds ago, it reached its rightmost point for me. Well, that could be left, depending on how the camera's set up, right, whether it's reversed or whatever. But it's showing at, exactly 3 to the left-hand side of the scale. And that's as far as it goes. And then it's heading back to the right. It's heading back left now. But before the last run, it got to, at 13 minutes ago, about 14.2 left.
To to the left.
I don't know whether your cameras know. Yeah, so it's going between 3 left and 14.2 left at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. Let me look at it on the OBS.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've got your cameras your camera on the scale one switched round. Hey, Gary. Yeah, at the present moment, we're got a pause going on, by the way. You're buffering. Oh, where is it going again? There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay now. It's going past 12 to me at the moment.
I'm looking at it on OBS. Right now, it's that is sitting at 13, about 13.5 to the left, 13.6.
Okay. Yeah, your OBS is obviously going to be broadcasting a little bit ahead of what we're looking at on the actual stream.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here may not be exactly. There with the buffering problems, you may not be seeing exactly what I'm seeing.
No, that's no problem. We'll see it, but delayed, so it still works.
Right. Yeah.
Right, so it's at 13.1. Oh.
About 13.5.
13.2 now.
13.5 was about it at,
Okay.
that's good because that's not contacting the wall any longer.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
No. No, you're getting a pure swing now, but it's all in the left deviation. $13.4. Yeah, so that's 13.5 for me now. So we're about 30-second delay, which is no problem. And now we're back. Yep. No, that's a reason he's been cloud watching today. They've just the Earth rotated and it's blocking his view of Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah. Clouds got in a lot of people's way tonight, I think. It's a shame. Yeah, coming back down to 11 and a half to the left now. Or that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
When we actually run the experiment with the big masses, they don't deflect it more than about 2 or 3 of these divisions at most. It's not a lot of movement.
Yeah. Well, once it's when you get down to your minimum deflection either direction, you've then got to do your setup on the top so it gets your laser, so it doesn't, so you're visible in the top screen constant, aren't you?
Oh yeah. It's hiding behind the the Discord. Well, let's see which side's it hiding. No,
Yeah.
it's on the right side right now. It's hiding over on the right. It'll come back into view once we get down around 7 divisions or so, something like that. These divisions are 20ths of an inch, 0.05 inches on that bottom scale.
Uh-huh.
So it's not moving very far, as you can tell. Most of the movement when we're actually running the thing is all centered around 3 to the left to 3 to the right. So the laser will be somewhere between, on the scale up there, 170 to 270, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Cavendish would have killed for a laser like this.
Oh, I'm sure he would have. Even focused candlelight would have worked very well, would it?
Yeah, that's what he had in order to be able to view it, was candles. Imagine.
Yeah. He still did a damn good job then.
Oh, incredible. Remember that he didn't know what the answer was. I've got an advantage. I know what the answer is supposed to be.
Which is true. So when he did this experiment, he had to run it quite a few many times with different weights to make sure that his answer was the correct deflection. But then to formulate
Well,
his understanding.
what I'm totally confused about, since quantum eraser wasn't around back in those days, I wonder what version of the scientific method Cavendish actually used.
That's all right. Dewey couldn't work his way out anyway. Even with a pencil. Well, the best thing he ever uses is a crayon. Yeah. You know, to be honest, when you actually look at quantum erasers, presentation skills, it takes me right back to Army basics. Absolutely dire. Which is why I joined the Air Force.
Horrible. Horrible. That is, his presentations are beyond awful.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he thinks they're great, but
He thinks he's right back in the mess, or being able to shout at the troops and say, this is what it is, and this is what you've got to accept. That's all he does. He teaches the army methodical way,
yep,
which doesn't work in science.
no, it doesn't.
Okay, so I'm estimating you should be getting to the right-hand side of your swing now, so I'm going to guesstimate that it's about 3.4. If it's doing what I think it's doing on the oscillation compression.
Looking on OBS at the moment, and it's showing almost exactly 4 to the left.
Uh-huh. I'm reckoning it should go another 0.6 towards the right.
Well, since it's not bouncing off that left wall anymore, it went 4 to the left, and
Nope.
now it's starting back the other way. It's
Oh,
at 1958 local time.
a little bit more. I think you're getting a good settle on this one.
1959. Sorry, 1959.
How long have you been removed for anyway?
Left 4.0.
Ooh,
Okay.
just on 2 hours. Did you adjust at the start of the stream and then been waiting for it to settle down? Because I missed the very
Yeah.
start, by the way.
Yeah, I'm waiting on it
I'm working
to
time.
stop bouncing around so that we could see what it was
Uh-huh.
doing. I found out with this thing, as long as those balls are hitting one of the walls of the enclosure, you can't make any sense out of what it's doing. You've got to get it to settle someplace between, uninterfered with inside that cavity, and then you can see where the center point is, and then you can actually start adjusting it to get everything over to 0. But I see what it's doing,
Okay.
and I think the time's going to work out about right. That was about 9 minutes, which would be 18 minutes, and the oscillation period ought to be 18.7 minutes, 1,122 seconds. If the world were perfect.
Yeah, if you've got the right.
Yeah. But who knows if
Oh, we always hope for that.
yeah, who knows if the
So, noticing one other thing.
modulus of rigidity is what I've assumed it to be. Who knows how accurate the 0.008 inch diameter is for the wire, so forth and so on. So all of that stuff can add up to some error in the calculations. But as long as you're not off by a factor of 3 or 2 or something. If you're off by 10%, who cares? That's just variance in the material.
There's a little message in the side chat, which hasn't been shown yet, by ThriceFan89. I love the Sphere Earth. Hate them Americans.
Well, sure, we'll let that go.
Yeah, he's definitely not pointing at you, Blue. There are some dumb people out there in the world.
I'm trying to show it, but it's giving me an error. It says try again. No, I'm not going to try again.
Oh.
One of you mods out there to let him hit the show button, see if it'll work.
Yep. It says error again. Probably moderated by YouTube. I've been doing it for the last day or two now. It's mesmerizing, by the way.
Huh? Say it again.
Say it is mesmerizing. Just watching these balls swing is mesmerizing.
I'll tell you, at times I've looked up and
Yeah.
half a day is gone, and I think, what the hell did I just do for half a day? Oh, I sat here and stared at this.
Oh,
That's kind of
this is
funny.
the other thing as well. All this science has been done over and over again. And yep, you're doing it a special way this time because you're not doing it like everybody does in universities and colleges with piece of metal and a torsion wire just hanging down, and it's all free floating, and then we can breathe on it. Right? You're trying to do it the proper way, the original way, and that is really impressive, mate. My hat's off to you. It's actually on the desk at the moment. I'm leaning on it. I'm loving this.
You know,
Just seeing it really work. It's in the way it's meant to be.
I guess Coulomb, who was a few years prior to Cavendish, was the guy that actually gets credited anyway for the concept of a torsion balance. But it is a remarkable apparatus when you think about it. I mean, it's so simple. And
Yep.
so damn sensitive. I can literally affect this thing just by walking around out here.
Yeah, I think everybody just says, please don't.
I'm sitting, you know, when you look at
Man.
when you look at that lower left view of the machine itself, I'm sitting virtually where the camera is, just right behind it. So I'm right off the end of it, and from this position, the mass of my body really isn't having any effect on it. But if I go around in front of the thing where that laser is, yeah, I can make it move very easily. So you have to be careful.
Oh, for sure. I hope you got a comfy chair in there to sit down on. Nice little lazy boy.
Yep.
Good on it. Okay, you should be coming to the end of the left swing. Where we're getting to this time then.
It's at about 13.2, 13.3 maybe.
So it really is actually nicely forming in.
Yeah, it'll settle into a very precise rhythm over the next few hours, and then I'll make a few adjustments to it to get it close to zero at the center, which is nowhere near zero right now. Somewhere around 8 or 9 to the left is where it is now.
This is a little thought. If you could modernize this a little bit more, would you be able to reposition your 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 scale? Right? So you could get it actually smack bang on the central point of a swing analysis. And that way you could then take into effect the fact that it's not coming to zero. You can then adjust it to bring it to zero.
Yeah,
or an approximate point of it.
Yeah, having a bit of a hard time with the audio again.
Yeah, type it out.
zeroing this thing is just simply trial and error. Once I know it's to the left, and I know that now, I need to cause the attachment of the torsion wire at the top to rotate clockwise a little bit. And I can tell you from experience that this amount of movement means that I probably need to move my little adjustment knob up there a total of maybe a sixth of a turn, and that should bring it very close to the 0 point. Again, if it's not perfectly zeroed, I don't really care. It doesn't have to be. It's not that.
As long as you can see that 0 point. Well, it'd be difficult to actually get that 0 point anyway, because it's always going to be oscillating.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying there in chat is if you can analyze that swing so you know approximately where that is.
Yeah. As long as it's not
You could
too
try and
crazy.
that way. Fair enough.
Yeah, if it's oscillating a couple of divisions up and a couple of divisions down, around, either side of the final point, it's fine.
Yeah, well done, John.
We have a
No, he was having a go at flat Earth. Unfortunately, he used a phraseology that was
yeah, that's not. We don't need to say
that's something we don't do.
Yeah, we don't need to say things like that.
No. So Nebula, join the chat when you've had a little bit of a think. They're idiots. They're derp. They're silly. They're stupid. That's good enough.
Well, it's moving smoothly now. It
Yes.
seems to have cut out that secondary oscillation that you get. That happens when those things
Yeah, I noticed that with the laser light. It wasn't bouncing.
Yeah, when those balls hit the inside of the cabinet, you get a strange sympathetic reaction between the two ends of the balance. I don't even want to think about what it would take to analyze that motion. Jesus God. Somehow I've got to believe Laplace transforms would be involved. And I swore I would shoot myself before I ever did another one of those damn things.
Yeah, it's all in the turns.
Clive,
Yeah, that's what we were saying, Clive.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Clive.
Yeah.
Just move the scale a little bit. A few millimeters closer to one side of the one side of the cabinet versus the other side really has very, very little effect. What you lose one direction, you gain the other direction.
Anyway, Blue, I'm going to jump off, dude. I'll probably leave the stream running in the background, but I'm going to have to see if I can get my granddaughter to bed. She's had a bottle now, so it's sleep time. I doubt she's going to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you joined.
Good.
I appreciate the company.
Hey. Anytime, Blue. Anytime, Blue. And I'm glad to know you got a lazy boy you can put your feet up on. I'll do it. It can take hours. Have fun, man.
All right, I'll do it. Take care.
Okay, man. And if I don't catch you beforehand, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you. Say that, in fact, to everybody out there, if I don't get a chance to interact with you, have a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Catch you, man.
Yeah, take care, buddy. There's the Discord link in case anybody wants to join again. Probably let this go for another few minutes and then I may call it for the evening because I think I want to make, well, let's see how much time lapse I've got left here. Got about another 50 minutes or so of time-lapse shots. And I think I don't want to make any adjustments to this thing until that runs down, because right now we're getting good usable information on the period of oscillation. And if I make an adjustment, that will affect that. I don't want to do it. So I'll let the time lapse run out and then do a little adjusting on the 0 point. Let it sit overnight and see what it's doing. But this is looking pretty good, I think. Based on the way it's been behaving, it looks like it's a lot less twitchy than it has been. Twitchy? Yeah, that's a good word. That's pretty much exactly what it's been. Twitchy. So we'll give Nebula a reprieve here, guys. I'll be the nice guy tonight. How's that? I've been sitting around in here talking to myself and I had the mic turned off. Sorry about that. Conical reason, thank you. I appreciate that. Now think about how brilliant these people were 222 years ago. Longer than that, because the Cavendish experiment was actually originally conceived by Reverend John Michel quite a few years before the 1798 date when Cavendish actually did this. But Michel was never going to be able to complete it. He knew that, and he passed the experiment along to Cavendish. Cavendish took what Michel had proposed doing and made some changes to it, not the least of which was he increased the weight of the large lead balls from around 100 pounds up to 350 pounds. And he made better arrangements for moving those large balls into position. So he essentially just rebuilt the entire thing that Michel had come up with. But then to be able to, without knowing, he didn't know what the answer was. Keep that in mind. None of these guys, I think Newton actually said he thought the value of the constant was somewhere between 6 and 7 times 10 to the minus 11th, or the equivalent thereof. But nobody knew what the number was. And of course, Cavendish wasn't literally deriving the gravitational constant. He was coming up with the density of the Earth. And this is a point of contention that quantum eraser and other knuckleheads don't seem to understand. The simple fact is, Cavendish did come up with the density of the Earth within 1% or so. And at that time, they knew very well what the dimensions of the Earth were. I mean, within a very narrow range. So with that information, all Cavendish failed to do was just move on and run through the rest of the mathematics. But people like QE don't get it. Quantum eraser fails to understand that in its more original form, Newton simply said force was proportional to. And that implies immediately there's a constant of proportionality, and that is G, the big G that we talk about today. I don't know why QE has such an issue with that. So had Cavendish chosen to do so, he could easily have rewritten the equation just like Boyce did 100 or so years later. To include a universal gravitational constant, but you know. The flat earthers will do anything in their power to try to discredit this. This particular experiment terrifies them, and I think it's really funny. I enjoy it. You can come up with all the woo you want to, but you can't deny what happens when we alter the position of these large lead balls out here. So what do you think, guys? Anybody got any questions or comments before I shut this down? Dave, man, thank you for being here. Biggest doggest, good to see you, man. Conical reason, C4. I have a name now. All you guys. Dave N, Gary Lowe, Lockafish. Lockafish? Lockafish Mars. Okay. Reno Gordonson. Hope I got close to a pronunciation there. Nebula. Bjorn Kamitz. John Watson. G. Hammer. Just going through the list. And if I leave anybody out, it's totally unintentional. I apologize. It's been a long day and I'm tired. Let's see what else. Zeo Gold. Thank you for being here. Colon. Again, thanks very much, buddy. Always good to talk to you. Okay, let's see. Judy Bassett, yes, thank you for being here. Love to hear about that pits ride sometime. You'll have to fill me in on that. I've never been able to harangue a ride in a pits, and I would love to have one. In fact, I don't even know anybody that's got a pits. I've done some aerobatics and stuff like Satabria and stuff like that. But aerobatic 150s.